It never really occurred to me that my wife and I would have trouble conceiving.
Didn't even cross our minds in the slightest.
Having a child was the next logical step.
I didn't want to accept it at first.
I felt like it was my fault.
It hit me like a wrecking ball all at once, all the emotions all at once.
Infertility is so emasculating.
It's made me more aware of how I feel about what's important to me.
I think I tried to escape from it a little bit.
I suppose, buried my head in the sand and thought, it'll happen.
I probably, like most men, didn't want any help, didn't want it, couldn't accept any help.
Probably didn't cope very well with it, just buried it down, I think.
I can't think of one aspect of my life that's the same now as it was before the diagnosis.
Men are as much part of this as well. Why don't we say something?
With great apologies, 1.5 faces and 2 full movies, Have You Seen is back with Aliens and Bill. Hello, loyal listeners. Yes, indeed, we have returned. With apologies for being a week late. It was sort of unavoidable, really. I am Kieran Lefort, and over there, from my perspective, is Tom Webb.
Hello.
On a slight delay, apparently.
No, I'm just sleepy.
Oh, okay. The standard web delay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry we're late. I'll try and sum up the last 2 weeks for you. I still obviously have Bell's palsy issues, although that's slightly better.
That's a lot better.
It is a lot better, yeah. Like
Yeah.
I would categorize my speech at being like 90 to 95%, whereas
Yeah.
it was at like 60 when we recorded last time.
Yeah. It definitely sounds better. And you definitely look better.
Yeah. Although there's still a way to go. So not only am I dealing with continued Bell's palsy, I was ill for 4 days, which included a 4-day headache. I've had an insane insane week of work that involved a 12-hour day followed by a 13-hour day followed by a day, I can't count the number of hours, but it went from 8 a.m. till half past midnight. What else has happened? Oh, I'm technically still on the clock now, and we're recording at 11 p.m. today because I'm waiting for something to get signed off. And an old friend of mine died, which was wonderful. So I've had an amazing couple of weeks. I'm hoping Tom's has been better.
Yeah, mine's been pretty uneventful. It has to be said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and I also got older. We're recording this the day after my 41st birthday. So
happy birthday.
Fresh wrinkles, you can see. Thank you very much.
That's all right.
Thank you. I mostly stayed in and cooked.
Nice.
Of course, I stayed in. We're still lockdown times.
Absolutely. Yeah, my birthday was in lockdown. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I made lots of lovely meat products.
Excellent. That's the way to spend your birthday.
Yeah. So, another good way to spend it, or the day after it anyway, is talking about Aliens and Bill.
Yep.
As happens quite a lot in this programme, 2 more disparate movies you could not hope to review in the same show. Do you have a preference as to what we start with?
No, not at all. I'm happy to just dive straight in and go for it. Alrighty.
Well, I get the feeling we'll have more to talk about with Aliens, so should we save that from the main event and do Bill first?
Yeah, okay.
Prelims?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. Yeah.
Let me open the Bill notes. I will I was going to say I will apologise for my speech going wonky, and my speech went wonky. Yeah, I'm still not 100%, so some plosives might escape, and I might sound a bit drunk at points, but it's definitely an improvement. Right. I pitched you Bill as the totally historically accurate 100% true story of William Shakespeare's formative years. Mm-hmm. A lute player who's too flashy and progressive for the shit band he plays with, Bill Shakespeare leaves his wife and kids and heads off to that London, having written, quote, a great work for the stage. Luckily, just as the Queen needs one, but unluckily, just as the Spanish invade. Now he needs to navigate plagiarism, thievery, treachery, loan sharks, some dubious actors, and a Catholic plot. It's a comedy, a family comedy, I would say. I hesitate to say children's film, because although it is suitable for the under 18s,
yeah,
it's not, say, suitable for perhaps like the under 10s.
No.
Yeah, it's a family comedy by the team behind Horrible Histories, and it's presented to me by a very old friend of mine whose who he and his 10-year-old daughter, I say it's not suitable for the under 10s, but he and his 10-year-old daughter love it to bits. And I liked it because it's quite Python-esque, like hardly a shot goes by without a joke. And it's one of those things like it encompasses all types of humor you can imagine, whether it's wordplay or a visual gag. Like one of my favorite jokes is a throwaway sign for a vegetable stand that says, "Make sure you get your 2 a week."
Yeah, I saw that. That made me laugh.
Yeah. Oh, good. Something made you laugh.
Yeah.
What else makes you laugh? You're supposed to be reviewing this. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like I think I probably I kind of lump this in a little bit with how I feel about what we did in the shadows.
Right.
In that I found it funny, but I don't know if I don't know if it feels like a cohesive whole as a film. Like I feel again like Horrible Histories is often a lot of sketches.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just because it was a lot of the same people. It's kind of my brain couldn't get out of that. But I
As
feel
a slight
like
aside, I saw a fantastic Horrible History sketch, the only one I've ever seen, apart from this movie. Someone shared it on Twitter, and it's World War II fighter pilots singing about how brilliant they are as like a Take That style boy band.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's hilarious, and the song is so well written as well.
I think a lot of the Horrible History stuff is really, really good and very, very well done.
A lot of it is available on iPlayer and Netflix and stuff, so I'm probably going to start watching it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worth it. I think it works really, really well. I've seen a few bits of it. So yeah, I think it's a stroke of genius, like setting this in Shakespeare's wilderness years, his Jesus years,
Right.
And because they can obviously play with it and they can do what they like with him and his character and come up with stuff. So you do kind of find yourself thinking, like, wait, is this actual history? Like, did this event happen? Did that event, was this going on? Was that going on? Or is this something they've made up or not? But like you say, there's so many different types of gags and all things. One of my favorite things, I think that got the most kind of smiles and laughs out of me was the Spanish invaders, spies, sort of, marauding, whatever you want to call them. I don't know really what you would call them. Insurgents, perhaps.
Yeah.
Pretending to be Cockney.
The Cockerney Players of Bow.
The Cockerney Players of Bow. And I just, I don't know why, but that kind of, an actor that's clearly putting on an accent and then that character then puts on another accent to varying degrees of sex. It's always a skill that I find incredibly often funny if it's played for that. But I think it's a genuine talent if an actor can do that. And just some of the lines that they achieve, particularly Simon Farnaby, because
there'll be bits where they're talking over each other, talking to another character, and at the end of the whole discussion, you just hear "me old China" or something like that.
Yeah. And there's just one thing where they're having a conversation, and Simon Farnaby just feels like he's expected to say something, so he just comes up with all day breakfast, fish and chips.
Yeah.
that genuinely made me laugh.
I think he's one of the highlights of this film. As I said,
Yes.
with the aid of various beards, he plays 5 different parts in this film.
Yeah, but he's one that you think of Bunny and the Bull and so he's always he's just a funny guy, and I think he just brings stuff. I also loved the other Spanish insurgent who just loved dressing up as a woman. That was his
he's
thing.
a master of disguise. He's a master of disguise who's actually just a man who likes wearing dresses.
Yeah,
so
and
it transpires.
And it was just how subtle that was. Well, not really subtle, but just how lovely that played throughout it all. And he gets his payoff at the end where, Bill is essentially just saying, "Yeah, you be you, you do that," and giving him that freedom to just do what he wants to do. I thought that was really lovely.
And there's a bit earlier on with King Philip of Spain, who's basically the head villain. And the master of disguise says to him, "I have an idea," and Philip is immediately like, "Does it involve you putting on a dress?" And he's like, "No." Yes.
Yeah. The other bit that really made me laugh is when Bill and Christopher Marlowe get a day job as basically handing out leaflets dressed as vegetables.
Yes.
Hence the get your two a week gag. And they start giving their leaflets out, and there's like the meat market, and there's the guy dressed as like the chicken leg and the sausage, and he's just like, why don't you, this is our patch, why don't you go back to the vegetable patch?
Yeah.
It's just what I think is so beautiful about it is that he realizes what he's saying as he's saying it, and it's just a nice little moment. But like I said, I don't know if I liked it all as a film, but it might be like a bit like what we did with The Shadows. The more I kind of think about it, the more I'll get out of it, and I probably will watch it again at some point. And
see, you mentioned What We Do in the Shadows. I like that film a lot, but as you say, like it's a bit plot-wise and story-wise, it's a bit thin.
Yeah, and would work very, very well as a series of like 10-minute sketches.
Have you seen the TV version?
No, I haven't watched it yet. It's on my list of stuff.
I absolutely recommend it. Yeah,
because I
binged season 2.
I like a lot of the
week.
actors in it. But yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, there's only, I think it's only 8 episodes per season, and they're only like 22 minutes each.
Yeah.
I watched season 2 this week. There's a 3-episode run back to back. Where all of them are just hilarious. In particular, Matt Berry gets his own standalone episode pretty much.
Matt Berry.
Where he is forced to go into hiding and pretend to be a human.
Okay. Just, I love Matt Berry. When we covered Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Yes.
Like,
I've been meaning to rewatch that, actually.
Yeah, I need to as well.
I'll do that at some point.
Yeah.
We talked last week about Francis Walsingham.
Yeah.
And how that guy plays 7 other parts.
Yes, yeah.
But after you were talking about Walsingham last week, I was reading up on him a little bit. He was a right bastard.
Oh, yeah.
He was a slimy fucker.
Yeah, he was,
What I discovered was he is the man responsible, ultimately, for the beheading of Mary Queen of Scots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
via entrapment without Elizabeth's knowledge, and was conveniently ill when she went on a rampage, locking people up for it. Then magically returned to his place as Chief Spymaster and Secretary of State.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he was one of those people that was a bit of a sadist anyway, and just got a kick out. And he found the niche that allowed him to be the sick human being that he was.
I have a feeling he was like M, but evil.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like he used torture.
Like if Ray Fiennes was allowed to play M as really dark in the new Bond movies.
But I mean, he would torture people and all sorts of stuff. Like he was a really, I mean, particularly Catholics. That's what he was. Yes. That was his big
put on
thing.
Muscle mass because God hates
it. Yeah. He was a really, really nasty piece of work. But like I said last week, he invented how spying works. Like he invented I should say information gathering is what he did. And I was reading
he had a team of intelligencers, not spies, apparently.
Yeah, because I think basically what he did was, it wasn't about, if you think of things like the Spanish Inquisition and all that kind of stuff, they were forces or police like not police forces, but they were armed forces, or they were like army style. They would go and do something and get some, whereas what he did was, no, that's the people aren't the important thing. The information is the important thing. And that's what he revolutionized, I suppose, or changed was basically it's about getting the information to him to then act on it. Which he did.
One of the things I really like about this film is how he's portrayed here.
Yeah.
Like he'll just magically appear in places.
Yeah.
And like, He's not a master of disguise. He's a master of hiding.
Yes, absolutely. I love
where he shows up as like pretending to be a dead body, or popping out of a meat pie.
Yeah.
Or his introduction, actually, where there's 2 maids folding a sheet, and then there's a bit where the sheet crosses the camera, and when it unfolds, he's taken the place of one of the maids.
Yeah. It's just that genius sort of stuff. It just makes him out to be this kind of sinister, which he was, sinister, kind of creepy, knows everything. And I think the scene you're talking, when he's pretending to be the corpse on the corpse truck, talking to Christopher Marlowe, like that was one of my favourite scenes of his, where they're going back and forth, because that was a real relationship
Yeah, I was reading that
Like-
supposedly there are rumours. Well, I don't know about rumours, but like it is suspected that Marlowe was perhaps one of his spies after they met in Paris.
Yeah.
Incidentally, this film is set 3 years after Walsingham died,
Right. Okay.
which might explain why loads of characters keep going, "I thought you were dead."
Oh, right. Nice. Because I know that, like it's like I was saying earlier, you don't know what's true and what's not. It's like
No.
the whole bit with Marlowe in the pub at the end, like that's pretty much true. You know, that's how he died. They were in I say a pub, a tavern. It sounds like it was a brothel. And there was an argument over a bill.
Can't say that in a PG movie.
No, exactly. There was an argument over the bill, and somebody knifed him. So like that element of it was true. So yeah, it was kind of fun, sort of unpicking like the reality of it.
It's more they've written this story and bent truth into it for people like you who know the like people who know the actual events can get another layer out of it, if you like.
Yeah, but
whereas I'm ignorant of this kind of thing completely.
Yeah, but it's made you
poorly educated as I am.
But it's made you go and look it up, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, I meant to read up about Marlowe as well, but only really had time to have a quick look at Walsingham.
And that's the point.
I kind of want to make a Walsingham movie.
Yeah, well, that's the
that
thing.
Would be fascinating.
Because I was reading it, like there's a whole thing. No one's ever kind of represented him how they think he really was. Like his character has always been one that has been compromised to make a movie work. Because I think Geoffrey Rush played him twice in a couple of movies, and like each time they added elements into his character to make other things in the story work and that kind of thing. So I know there's books about him, which I assume are probably more accurate, or should be accurate if they're like historical biographies and stuff. But yeah, you're right. He's just fascinating. But it's like, you know,
I want a Walsingham movie, but like.
He's not really. He's not a hero.
In any way, could he?
I was just going to say he's definitely not a hero. But you know, it's one of those things. How would you frame that film? There must be a way to do it. It'd be fascinating, I think. But like you say, the whole point of Horrible Histories was to present that history and those elements in a fun way that made kids want to learn more about it. Yeah. You know, because it was obviously a series of books first.
Yes.
And you know, kind of tuning into the kind of the slightly macabre sense of interest that kids have.
Yeah.
So you know, it's done so well. I would like to watch like more of it, and I suspect that as my daughter grows up a bit, we will. I think she'll love it, because I think it'll really really tickle her sense of humour.
Do you have anything else to add? I mean, it's not really a film you can dig deep into, is it?
No,
Especially, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's an easy watch movie, and it's one of those things. I think if you've got a passing interest in history or Shakespeare or anything, watch it. If you've got kids who are doing history things at school or are doing Shakespeare or whatever, show it to them, because it might not give them any information that they need, but it might give them the impetus to like find it interesting,
to search out more.
Yeah. You know, because it's just so silly in places and very funny, and yeah, I think it serves a purpose, I think, rather than being, you know what I mean? It's not just like it's got a function as a movie on top of just being light entertainment, which it can be both, you know.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Should we abandon Shakespeare for the future?
Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty. Do you want to explain Aliens again?
Yeah.
I should point out, actually, there are several different versions of Aliens, and the version we watched was the director's cut.
Right, yeah, director's cut. Picked for no specific
You said that like
reason.
a man who watched a different version.
No.
Right, yeah, director's cut. Yeah,
No,
definitely.
I did watch the director's cut. There's a theatrical cut, a director's cut, and I think they call the special edition.
There's a special edition, yeah.
Which is even longer than the one we watched. And I think the director's cut just seems to sit nicely in the middle. So Aliens is pretty much exactly what it says on the tin. Like, I think last week
but you just said you're getting the plural.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. That's pretty much it. So basically, the premise is that Ripley is found 57 years after the events of Alien, still in hypersleep. they wake her up. She explains what happens, and the company are just like, "Oh, well, we're not entirely sure we believe you." And there's a lot of kind of corporate politics involved. But she discovers that they are currently terraforming the planet where the events of Alien occurred, which is obviously an incredibly bad idea. So they decide to send a rescue mission, which is essentially an army platoon, and they decide to send some Marines to go in and wipe out any aliens if they happen to be there. Whilst they're travelling, or before they travel, the slightly sleazy Paul Reiser sends some people on the planet to go and investigate a specific coordinates, but doesn't tell them why. They find the alien ship, and of course all hell breaks loose. So by the time that Ripley and her Marines get there, there is just a mass of aliens on the planet, and they've basically got to try and escape now that they've got stuck there again. So it's pretty much more of the same, but it's more of an action movie, more of a war movie. I think I definitely prefer Alien to Aliens, but I know that you are more of an action film fan than a horror film fan, so I've always been curious as to whether you would find this more interesting, or you'd like it more, or whether actually you'd prefer the slow, boring sci-fi that I like. So that was kind of the reasoning behind pitching you this. So what was your reaction? What did you think?
Well, I'm not sure if you're saying which is your favourite. I don't know if I could pick between the two.
Okay.
I categorise them both the same way, which is they are both very good, but I have no need to watch either ever again.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I know people for whom this is their favourite movie, and they would watch it once a year, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was great. I don't think I'm ever going to sit down and think, unless it's for a specific reason, oh yeah, I really fancy watching Aliens today.
Yeah. I kind of think, I might watch Alien. I never think, I'll watch Aliens.
Oh no, I'm never going to watch that again either.
Yeah, and
I found my original. We don't have the episode anymore in which I reviewed Alien. However, I did find my notes for Alien for when we recorded.
Right.
That begin Alien at 1:20 p.m. on a Friday with the light on. So my notes for Alien's director's cut begin 8 p.m. Saturday, July 18th, 2020. Still light outside.
Nice. Yeah. So like I said, did you find it more accessible as an action movie, or was it just more of the same?
I don't know if it's about accessibility. I was trying to figure out.
Or is it just a scary concept? Is it just because I find it creepy and scary.
Yeah, it didn't really give me as much of the Wiggins as Alien did.
No.
But that had been built up for like 35 years as being this terrifying thing. And to that end, it was incredibly effective. Ridley Scott was the master of making you think it could be around any corner in that spaceship at any point. Yeah. And that was not the case here at all.
No. And partly because
forever to get to the damn planet with the alien on.
Yeah, which is partly down to the director's cut, because there's a bunch of extra stuff added before that point. Yeah.
It's terribly convenient that after 20 years of that planet they're terraforming being inhabited by the terraformers, that the aliens, the Salvage family, happen to find the xenomorph ship a few days after Ripley wakes up.
Well, the reason they do is because Paul Reiser tells them to go there.
I must have missed that bit.
Yeah, it kind of it can pass you by because it's in one of the really sort of wordy dialogue scenes. But it's so basically what happens is, obviously because of the way the aliens work, the aliens can only be created if one of the face huggers attaches itself to a human.
Yes.
Right. So the adult aliens don't exist unless they lay an egg in a human.
It can't specifically be humans. They must have before encountering the human race.
Yeah, but you don't get an alien. You don't get a xenomorph like you get with a human.
Oh, I see.
You get something different.
Oh, because they do like dog ones and stuff later on in the series, don't they?
Yeah, so it depends on what the facehugger attaches to depending on what it is. So basically, the eggs are dormant, or the facehuggers just die unless they attach to something, and because no one has gone there, then there's no reason to. And obviously,
I see.
A family go there because obviously you take your kids to terraform the planet. A family go there and then they go back to the main thing. And of course, once they do that, then it can just propagate and propagate and propagate because there's lots of humans to infest and blah 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 blah.
And then boy, does it infest.
Exactly, and then they work out a system where they can keep the humans alive and still keep reusing the same humans.
Yes,
by sticking them to a wall.
Yeah,
but yeah. So it's a bit more
hugging their faces.
Yes, it's a bit more involved than Alien, and I think like you said that in Alien, you think that it can be around the corner, it can be in any shadow, it can be in any corner. And I think that's more effective because there is only one. Whereas with this, you're just like, well, they can be everywhere. And you know they can be everywhere because, so it's harder to play with that, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know where to start in my notes, really. I could start at the beginning. Is there not an easier way of opening the hatch on Ripley's dropship than cutting it open?
Who knows?
Which apparently James Cameron had to pay for himself because the studio told him he wasn't getting any more money to do that scene.
I think Cameron did go a bit crazy with this one.
Yeah, so I was looking at the numbers. Alien cost $14 million in 1979 and took $204 million.
Mm.
This cost 18.5 and took 180. Which is still a pretty amazing return on investment.
It is, yeah. They had Cameron had to convince them to let him make it though. Yeah, and apparently the crew hated him.
Oh yeah,
because Ridley's boys.
Yeah, they sacked the cinematographer pretty quickly because he wanted to light the alien's lair really brightly. And so. Cameron brought in a guy called Adrian Biddle.
Yeah.
This is his first feature film. It turned out he had been the cinematographer on Ridley Scott's legendary 1984 Apple ad.
Yeah.
And by sheer coincidence, he was the focus puller on Alien.
Yeah. And do you know what?
What he did next?
Yeah.
Princess Bride.
Yeah. he actually then went on a run of really good movies. I can't remember what came after Princess Bride, but yeah, I did. It was amusing that it was Princess Bride was in there.
Yeah. But like the cinematography of Aliens is one of the most recognizable aesthetics on film.
It is.
Like if you just say Aliens, the image in my head is black, grey, and that particular shade of light blue that runs all the way through it.
Yeah, I mean that and I think that and Blade Runner set up Ridley, like they set up modern sci-fi space, and that's that was the look. Yeah, it's very iconic.
I largely hated all of the Marines.
Yeah, I was going to say that is one of the big reasons I don't like this as much as Alien is because they're just not nice. Like they're just they're just like
Hicks is not a dick, I guess.
Yeah, but they're just gung ho thugs, and they're not likable, and you don't really care if they die, and I think that's a bit of a misstep. Like it would have made much. I would have preferred it if they, if you felt a bit before they die.
Yeah,
which you don't.
I was absolutely shocked that the most famous line in the movie, "Game over, man, game over," is delivered in the back of a wide shot.
Oh yeah, because it was an ad lib.
Yeah. Yeah, and they didn't think, that's good enough to do a close up.
No, I guess it's there. I think it was not a troubled production, but like the crew, Ridley. Cameron was having trouble wrangling the crew because they just wouldn't give him the time of day. He was trying to prove to them what a good filmmaker he was and tried to show them Terminator, but none of them showed up.
That's right, yeah.
So I think that it was just a bit difficult, really. But they're like the Marines are just irritating, and it's not until most of them die, and Michael Biehn
Yeah.
kind of comes around to Ripley. There's that scene on the sort of like tank car thing they've got where she's telling is it lieutenant, the commanding officer, she's telling him what they should do. Or is it Paul Reiser? She's telling somebody what
they're
always
all
do.
in there. There's Gorman is Paul Reiser's character, and is that Paul Reiser? No, Burke is Paul Reiser's character, and Gorman is the commander of the unit.
Yeah, Gorman has died at this point because technically Michael Biehn he's the most highest ranking officer,
but he's a corporal. Yeah,
and Ripley kind of lays down, this is what we have to do, and I think it's Reiser's going no, and then he says, well, I'm the ranking officer, this is what we do, and just lays out her plan basically. And it's that point you kind of like, okay, he values her at that point. It's kind of the turning point, I guess. Yeah.
So there's a bit where Ripley says, I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. 40 minutes earlier in my notes I wrote, get back on the ship, nuke that rock and go home, the end.
Yeah, pretty much. It's one of those horror movies where you're like, just do that, don't go in there, just don't.
It's a series of characters making increasingly bad decisions for storyline reasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's times when I'm just like, just don't do that. Why are you doing that? But
you've mentioned more than once, and other people have mentioned that have called this the war movie to the horror movie that is Alien.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a war movie.
Okay.
It's a siege film.
Yeah.
And borderline zombie flick.
Yeah, I can see that actually. Yeah.
It's a small group of characters trying to hold back an unstoppable terror that could break through any door or window at any time.
Yeah. I guess people call it the war movie because it's soldiers, but I guess
But no.
Would you call
most
dog
of it
soldiers
is a siege? Is them stuck in a room with the aliens trying to get in?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just because it was supposed to be more amped up, more action, more.
And there is definitely amped up action.
Yeah,
for sure. What else? I like Lance Henriksen as Bishop. I think it's cool liking Ian Holm as I've forgotten the name of the droid in Alien.
Yeah. No, I can't remember
either. He gets a great line where he says, "I may be synthetic, but I'm not stupid."
Yes, yeah.
He then gets a death sequence which looks incredible even now, where he is torn in half.
Yeah,
and his milk blood shoots everywhere.
Yeah,
whatever his fluid is inside. Yeah. And then there's a hilarious moment where they open an airlock and half of Lance Henriksen goes scooting across the floor.
Yeah.
And it was way funnier than it should have been.
I think it's that casting is James Cameron making good on him giving Henriksen the role of the Terminator, then taking it away again to give to Arnie.
Well, Henriksen famously turned up to his audition for the Terminator with tinfoil on his teeth, trying to look as much like a robot as possible.
Yeah, I think, so I think it was just like, I'll give him the shot. And I think he's great in it as well. And there's the famous knife scene.
He's kind of like, do you remember when we talked about First Blood, we talked about how Brian Dennehy was like a good hand as like that solid cop who turns up in everything. Lance Henriksen is kind of like the sci-fi version of Brian Dennehy.
Yeah.
Like if you see his name, you think, he's probably not going to be the lead, but he's probably going to be really good support.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and he's
really
great
solid.
Here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think he's one of the most interesting. And I think also because they play on the what the hell is Ian Holm's android called?
There are going to be people screaming.
I know. I can't believe I can't remember.
I'm going to look it up.
Okay, look it up.
I can't. That's the wrong mouse.
But I think that because that was one of the big twists of Alien.
Yeah.
And I like they play on that here a bit because, obviously it's moved on. It's 50 years later, right?
Yeah. Ash,
of course it's Ash. Yeah, so I think, there's some, Ripley's distrust of Bishop is really good, and like just her, the moments where she like concedes, okay, he needs to go and do this or doing that, and and I think it comes good when he kind of comes to the rescue a little bit, even though it gets ripped in half.
Yes.
No, he's good. Do like Lance using this.
What else did I like about this? the face hugger attack where it transpires afterwards that Burke has locked Ripley and Newt, who we haven't even mentioned yet.
No.
Who is the child from the family who go out to initially discover the. Is she the same girl?
Yeah, she is.
And she is she's surviving in the station when it appears nobody else has. And she and Ripley kind of form a bond, and they sleep in one of the labs. And it transpires that Burke, Paul Reiser's character, has locked them in there for the night with a face hugger.
Yeah.
Whether he knows the face hugger is in there or not is...
Oh, no, he does.
Well, okay, yeah, fair enough. That scene, that face hugger attack scene, is scary as balls.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Like,
it goes back to that
like,
horror.
They've definitely you can see the advances in the animatronic technology on the face hugger for sure. Like the way it wraps its tail around people's necks is terrifyingly believable in this.
Yeah.
Like it's not a fear, but like I don't like wearing scarves because I don't like things around my neck.
No.
I especially do not want a face hugger tail around my neck.
No.
Yeah, that's a really great scene.
Yeah.
There's they make their escape through the air vents, and that's where pretty much the alien. No, hang on. There's two characters who sacrifice themselves to stop the xenomorph getting to Newt and Ripley and Hicks.
Yeah.
And that's like that's the end of the commando unit then. So Hicks is the only one left.
It's Vasquez and Gorman, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember it being Vasquez, who is the Latina who likes massive machine guns.
Yeah,
but I couldn't remember who the guy was.
She's not Latina.
What?
She's not
Her name's
Latina.
Vasquez.
Yeah, but the actress isn't.
Okay, fair enough.
The actress is John Connor's stepmom, adoptive mum.
Okay.
In Terminator 2.
Yeah. My brain's trying to piece all this together now.
Yeah.
Huh. That's amazing what long hair and a dress will do for someone. Isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, Newt ends up getting separated from them and falling into what I can only presume is like space station sewage.
Yes. Yeah.
It's water. And there is a shot. Hicks and Ripley then have to cut through like a grated floor to get to her, and they do just about in time. Well, just about in time, not quite in time.
Nearly.
As a xenomorph comes out of the water behind her, that shot looks amazing still as well.
That's
it's
one of
very short, but it's really effective. It's really good.
Yeah. That's one of the iconic moments. Just that thing looming out of the water.
Yeah. This is a really good study in escalation as it pertains to filmic storytelling.
Okay.
The characters constantly go from the frying pan into the fire, which they think is just a larger frying pan, then into another fire, which they think is just a larger frying pan, and over and over and over until you get to the end. Yeah,
that's true. It's just, you say it's that, because I guess it's like people know what people had that menace in Alien, so you've got to amp it up, you've got to make it bigger, and some people say better. I'm still not convinced.
And it comes down to, as you would expect, a one-on-one between Ripley and the alien queen, which is a different-looking xenomorph anyway already. Yeah. Kind of spidery. That I read that puppet, for lack of a better phrase, was 14 feet tall. Yeah. Had 2 people inside it and another 14 to 18 people operating it from the outside.
I know. It looks, just the detail on it, and it's amazing.
Yeah. All of the like the puppet and animatronic work in this is exceptionally good. Yeah.
And I was reading because they didn't have enough. Full xenomorph suits. So like often, like the xenomorph nearest the camera would get the full suit, and then as they went further back, they'd get varying degrees of just bits stuck on like a black bodysuit and stuff like that. But like you never
until the one on the back was just a bloke in a pair of jeans with a hat on.
And you just kind of like there's a few dodgy full body alien shots in Alien, but I don't remember seeing any in this.
Yeah, that was one of the things I remember not liking about Alien is when you see the alien itself. I think it's because the guy inside the suit in Alien was not an actor.
No.
He was just a very tall, thin man
Yeah.
who they built the suit around. And there are shots, in particular, there's a couple of shots in Alien where the creature turns and it looks like a man who can't act turning in a suit.
Yeah.
Rather than an actual costume performer. Like somebody like, God, can you imagine if it was made now or 10 years ago or wherever, and it had Doug Jones in the suit, like an experienced costume actor in the suit, rather than just some like 7 foot tall skinny rando.
Yeah, absolutely. Or even someone like Andy Serkis, although I know he mostly does motion capture, but he has that physicality of,
yes.
There's a lot of people that do that.
But now they would all be motion captured, and it probably would be him in his studio doing it.
I think, was it 4 maybe they shifted to some CGI?
CG aliens,
I don't know. I only saw that once. I had high hopes for it because it was Joss Whedon.
The general consensus seems to be that I probably shouldn't carry on with this series on this one.
Yeah, and in my head, I 100% agree with that. It's been a very, very long time since I've seen Alien 3. And that might be
That's the Joss Whedon one that the studio took away from him. Or is that 4?
It's not. That's 4.
Oh, 3's the Fincher one.
Fincher, yeah. So and for me, when I saw that, which would have been a long time ago, I had no idea who David Fincher was.
Okay.
Now and they didn't give him the creative control that they should have done. No. Same sort of story. So I, now knowing more about Fincher and liking some of his movies, I'd be more interested to go back.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
that's 97, and he's not David Fincher he is now, or the David Fincher he would become. Like
93, isn't it? I thought Resurrection, Alien 4 was 97.
Hang on, let's do the Googles.
Or 98.
Alien Cubed is 1992, so even earlier. Oh yeah, you're right. No, 4 is 97. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was pretty early on. Was it even his first feature?
I'm just thinking, was he just the guy who made Meatloaf videos?
And Madonna videos. And Rolling Stones. And he'd done a lot of music videos.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, now I've got to look up David Fincher. You keep talking. I've got to look up David Fincher.
Yeah. So it's one of those movies that I think, in terms of an Alien film or Aliens film, I think 1 and 2 you covered. I still prefer 1 over 2.
Mm-hmm.
I have a morbid curiosity about watching 3 again. I definitely don't want to watch the Joss Whedon one again.
Okay.
And I watched Prometheus, and when I watched it, I quite enjoyed it. I thought, yeah, that works quite well. But I'm not into the alien lore as much as other people. So I think I'm not enough in it to get offended by any stuff they did. But I'm also not in it enough to care to go about watching the next one, Covenant. I haven't bothered with that yet, and I'm not sure if I will. I don't know.
Between 1984 and 1993, Fincher was credited with directing 53 music videos.
Wow.
In 1990, 20th Century Fox hired him to replace Vincent Ward as the director on Alien 3. So that was Alien 3 was his first movie.
Okay.
So, and you know what studios are like with somebody's first film.
Yeah.
They just won't leave them alone. They're not trusted to do their job.
No.
Clearly, they don't know what they're doing.
I mean,
we hired someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
When you look at Seven, Fight Club, Panic Room.
Panic Room, something I've been meaning to watch since it came out, and I've never got around to it.
Oh, really?
It's been in my Netflix queue ever since I got Netflix.
Well, I'll bear that in mind.
Okay.
And
it means I still can't watch it.
Yeah. You think of that, the aesthetic of those movies, like he's like, him and aliens go together. Like that would just work, but obviously without the freedom, it's not going to work. Because he can't bring what he brings. And that's really sad, I think.
We've got off track here because I was about to talk about the finale between Ripley and the Queen.
Yes.
So Ripley's in a power loader, which we see her use earlier, which is like this massive exoskeleton.
Yeah.
And I got interested in that thing because like it looks real.
It does, yeah.
Film.
Yeah.
It was a prop constructed around a stuntman called John Lees, who was hidden inside it. And essentially, Sigourney Weaver was sitting on something that was on his lap.
Yeah.
It had to be hung. It weighed around 600 pounds. The hydraulics on it are fake, and it was hung from cables from the ceiling.
So it's just a marionette, basically.
Yeah, essentially. And it's... so the wires also concealed radio antennae.
Right.
And it was... and it was basically hung from the crane. And it was... it was operated by a combination of the guy inside it, walking it around, and operators from the outside doing the claws and stuff on it.
That's mad.
But
That's crazy.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
There is a bit where there's two of them in a shot at the same time, and the one in the background is slightly obviously stop motion, but the figure inside it is a Ripley puppet that was made for the end sequence to fight with the Queen, that they just stuck army fatigues on to make it look like one of the soldiers.
Amazing. I did read somewhere actually that after seeing some of the footage from the movie, the studio went absolutely ballistic because they were like, "You've been spending money we allotted for this is supposed to be a special effects movie. We gave you money for special effects because you were going to use it in that, and you've used it on full-size sets and in the production department, and we're not happy about it." And Cameron had to go back and say, "Those were model shots."
Oh yeah, the model work. So there's a couple of exceptions, and I think
stunning.
it's because they are. I think it's because they're crap rear projection shots
Yeah.
that don't work and stick out. But the set work and the model work is incredible in this.
Yeah.
And you're dead right. There's places where you absolutely cannot tell what you're looking at is a miniature and not a full size set.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I mean, we when we did. Have we ever done? No, we never done Terminator or Terminator 2 on this podcast.
No, because
have
we've
we?
both seen them both.
Yeah. So I mean, the whole I know we've had a conversation before about it though, like the forced perspective miniature work with all of the stuff set in the future in I think Terminator, when you see the battles and the skulls on the ground, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean that's all amazing. So it was obviously something that Cameron was familiar with already at this point in his career and was very good at. I have to say, I haven't seen a James Cameron movie after Aliens in his filmography that I would consider watching again.
Including T2?
Oh, yeah, okay, fine. T2, yeah. All right, after T2, definitely.
True Lies?
It's okay.
True Lies is something I've been meaning to watch again, actually.
I feel
I
like
haven't seen it for a very long time, and I remember it being a lot of fun.
I think I really enjoyed it in the 90s. I'm not sure I'd enjoy it now. I don't think it will hold up. I don't know why.
Maybe we should do a rewatch and find out.
Maybe. But I just as a filmmaker, I think the original Terminator, I really like. This is not bad. It's okay. I don't like it as much as Alien. I don't like Terminator 2 as much as I like Terminator. The Abyss is meh.
Oh, I've never seen that.
I mean, it's fine, and it's groundbreaking special effects.
Yeah.
And True Lies was okay, but then after that, I can't really like Titanic. I hated, and everything subsequent. I haven't seen Avatar. So I don't kind of like. I don't
stop being a filmmaker and start becoming a money maker.
Yeah. I just I'm not sure. He's not really my kind of go-to filmmaker. I'll say that.
No,
but I mean, all props to him for this.
Yeah. So quickly, there were three things in the climactic scene that I wanted to touch on very, very quickly. The alien queen is going to kill Newt. The door opens and there's Ripley dramatically backlit in the suit, and she utters the line, "Get away from her, you bitch!" And the xenomorph responds to a dramatic reveal and a quip. I never realised how many places use or rip off the final dramatic music cue.
Right. Yeah.
Because as soon as it played, I'm like, I have heard this in 100 places.
Yeah.
And who the fuck designed an airlock that could have both doors open at once? Why is there no failsafe to stop that happening?
That's a very good point, actually. I
Yeah,
hadn't thought about
because
that.
I thought, she's going to shut herself in with the queen, open the other side, and just hang on, and then close it again. And she didn't. She had both doors open. That's where you get half a Lance Henriksen scooting across the floor.
I'm trying to work out, would there ever be a need for that? Would there ever be a moment where
unless
you
you
would
need to
both?
vent alien queens from your spaceship? I don't think that would be.
It hadn't occurred to me, but you're right.
Yeah. But anyway, overall, yes, very good, but I never need to watch it again.
Yeah, I kind of thought that might be the case. Although I did wonder whether, like I said, whether the action or more actiony element of it might tempt me to watch it again. But fair enough.
I did my usual little run around the taglines and alternate titles.
Mm-hmm.
The taglines were quite boring. It's like, this time it's war, this time there's more, this place in the universe you don't go alone, somewhere in deeper space, all hell is breaking loose. And then Fox decided it was a 50s B movie when they originally released it on VHS. They're even scarier the second time around.
That's poor.
Yeah.
That's really
the
poor.
alternative titles are better. So a lot of places it was called Aliens and then had a subtitle.
Right.
So, for example, in Belgium, the Flemish title was Aliens, the New Horror. In Denmark, it was Aliens, the Final Showdown. Italy, it's Final Clash. Poland, the Decisive Battle. In Slovenia/Serbia, it is Eighth Passenger 2.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
In Romania, it's Aliens Punishment Mission.
Okay.
Turkey decided it was just called Return of the Creature. That's a 50s B movie.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah.
They're even scarier the second time around. And in Hungary, because Alien was called The Eighth Passenger is Death, here it's called The Planet's Name is Death.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's full on.
And subsequently, all the other Alien films have the word death in the title in Hungary.
Right. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, I can't remember what the others are, but yeah.
No.
But I always quite like The Eighth Passenger is Death.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah. It's very, I don't know, very enigmatic. It's almost like an Agatha Christie novel.
Yes, I suppose it is. Do we need to get on to what we're doing next week?
Yeah, why not?
Presumably we are doing it next week rather than in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, I would think so.
My work week this week is much, much milder, despite technically still being on the clock at, what time are we now? Like 11:30, 11:45 or whatever.
Midnight.
Oh, God, midnight, yeah. My work week this week is much, much lighter.
Cool. Awesome.
Who wants to go first?
I don't mind. I can go first, or you can go first. I mean, those are kind of the two options we're faced with every week. So
Yeah, I guess so. Nobody else wants to go first.
no.
All right, I will. I'll do it.
Okay.
I have been screwed over again.
Right.
So last time I was screwed over by Amazon Prime deciding they were going to charge £5 for whatever it was I was going to pitch you.
Yeah.
Instead of keeping it free, so it became Bill, which is free.
Yeah.
Which was like my backup film on the list I had, and then this time around, I rewatched the movie that I had intended to pitch you. And while it was still fun, I didn't feel it was have you seen worthy.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, it wasn't as enjoyable as I found it first time around. I will say, however, if you have 90 minutes to spare and are in the mood for just something a little bit ridiculous, there's the horribly titled Spy Time on Netflix.
Okay.
Or if you're Spanish, it is Anacleto and Anacleto Agente Secreto.
Right.
Which that's the original title,
Okay.
Anacleto Secret Agent, and
Right.
it's based on a comic from the 60s, which is a spoof of James Bond.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. It has some incredibly funny jokes in it. There is a fight near the beginning that has a weapon I've never seen used in any other fight, and used in a way I did not expect it to be used.
Okay.
But overall, it just didn't hold together, and I didn't feel right pitching it.
Fair enough.
Like, even
Sometimes
though
that happens.
I'll give it a mild recommendation, I think it's funny and, like, you know, it'll pass 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was worth doing on this show.
Fair enough.
And I'd used my backup film. And so I had to scroll back through a whole ton of messages we've sent each other over the last few months, trying to work out if we were going to do this second season, who'd seen what, all of that kind of thing. And it transpired only by omission rather than you outright saying you hadn't seen it. So if you have seen it, shut up and we'll just talk about it next week. Pretend you haven't.
Okay.
You have not seen a film that is based on a true story that the subject claims is 98% accurate.
Okay.
And that is Erin Brockovich.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen that.
Hey, good. Either he really hasn't, or he's really good at pretending.
No, I genuinely haven't seen it.
Good.
I'm not a Julia Roberts fan. So
Neither am I, but she's excellent in this. So
Okay.
this movie won her the Oscar, the BAFTA, and the Golden Globe for Best Actress.
right, yeah, okay.
It was also nominated for Best Film, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, I remember it cleaning up at the time.
Yeah. I need to find out what won big in 2000, because this is the one that was nominated for everything, but only won for Best Actress.
2000 Gladiator probably.
Maybe.
Or did
We'll
that?
talk
Or
about
would
this
that have
next
been?
week. I'll look it up
Not
and we'll
sure.
see if there was like something that just, as has tended to happen in like the last 20 odd years of Oscar history, is one film comes in each year and takes home more than 10 gongs.
Yeah. Or
in
or
one
there's
go.
2 and they split it evenly.
Yeah. So the basic gist is, after he loses her personal injury case, unemployed single mother Erin Brockovich shames her lawyer into giving her a job despite having no experience. While looking into a simple real estate buyout case, Erin uncovers a scandal involving a huge corporation polluting a town's water supply, and just like David versus what's his name, sets out to bring them down.
Okay. Fair enough.
There we go. I prior to rewatching this to potentially pitch it, I'd only seen this once, and I remember really enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed it just as much this time round.
Okay.
Julia Roberts is Erin Brockovich.
Yeah.
And she's, as I said, good enough to have won 3 awards in 1 year for this performance. Albert Finney is the lawyer. He's great too. Their chemistry is really good, particularly the one-on-one scenes they have together. And he is the guy who was supportive of, who was nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Albert Finney's like he's a mainstay. He's one of the great actors of his generation from the UK. Anyway.
Yeah. And the other name in this is a very hairy Aaron Eckhart, who plays the charming biker who moves in next door and develops an almost instant crush on Erin and bonds with her children.
Right. Okay.
I don't know what else what else can I say? I mostly like it because the script is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's possibly the least fussy of Soderbergh's films.
Right. Okay.
So when Soderbergh is good, he's this and out of sight.
Yeah.
When he's bad, he's haywire.
Yes.
Which is an arty wanker trying to make an action movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was not good. That was not good.
No.
I can't remember if you like the limey or not. I'm not sure you
fucking
did.
hated the limey. I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah. Okay. The Ocean series is, well, the first one at least is Soderbergh, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they all are, but I'm pretty sure that
11 is good.
Are.
I don't think I've seen any of the others, though.
I've seen bits of the others. Yeah, 11 was all right, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like...
I mean, it's a movie I remember a huge amount about when it came. Like, I remember it coming out, and I remember all the awards and everything, and I can remember it being popular in Blockbuster when I worked there. So it's one I'm well aware of. It's the kind of movie that I kind of feel like should have been an Aaron Sorkin film.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of movie.
I need to look more into the background of the film itself, because like once you see Roberts, like there are some scenes where she's in full flow and on fire, and you watch those and you think this must have been a role that would have had Hollywood's A-list women climbing over each other to get. Like it's a fantastic role, from the grandstanding scenes down to the subtle character stuff. Like it's a great role.
Yeah.
We'll do the numbers this week and probably next week as well. Budget is $52 million. 20 million of that went to Julia Roberts, making her the first actress to ever get that much for a role.
Yeah.
And worldwide, it pulled in 256 million.
Wow. I remember it being a massive hit.
Yeah. Pretty good return on investment for a 2-hour drama about a woman investigating polluted water.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see it because, like I said, I've never seen it, and it's always been one that I've never watched it simply because it's Julia Roberts.
Yeah, and I'm trying to decide if this is going to make me. I'm trying to think why I don't like Julia Roberts and why I've actually seen her in, and whether I should now reappraise her having seen this.
Yeah, I have a. I am just I've never seen this. I've never seen anything with her in that I particularly liked. But then I don't think any of the movies that she would have done. I didn't like Pretty Woman. I can't really remember if I've seen her in much else. I must have done, but I can't remember. I just never got any. I never really liked her, and then I have a very specific reason for not liking her, which I'll probably say. I'll tell that story next week.
Okay. Tune in next week where we'll find out how Julia Roberts has wronged Tom.
She hasn't wronged me, but I'm just like that's not. I don't.
Although her niece brutally cut down a guy we used to work with.
That was hilarious.
Maybe we should tell that story next week as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got without like diving into the details.
Yeah.
And stuff. And to be honest, I didn't actually write a whole lot of notes. I think, given if I have the time, I will try to look more into just how accurate this is and the real Erin Brockovich Ellis, as is her full name, before we talk about it next week.
Yeah. I think the only thing I know is that Julia Roberts got paid more than Erin Brockovich won in the case.
According to the film, I mean, no, I can't say anything because it'll give away the end.
Fine, all right. That's what I've heard, but I don't know. So
okay,
yeah,
she made a lot of money. Let's just say that she made a lot of money.
Fine, all right.
Alrighty, it's your turn.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna fall back into very comfortable Tom zone here.
Yeah.
You know what's coming? It's gonna be early 70s.
Is it from 1970 and is it boring sci-fi?
It's not boring sci-fi, but it is. Is
it a flipping airport movie?
No, it's not. No, it's a genre that doesn't really exist anymore, and I lament the fact that it doesn't really exist anymore. It's a genre of movie that has gone to TV and has done varying degrees of success, and it's a 70s cop movie, which they don't make police movies, like they don't make cop movies anymore, detective movies particularly, I feel.
Right.
Not in the same way anyway, because those, I mean, if you think about it, those become TV characters now. I think of like Luther.
True Detective.
True Detective, and like all of that kind of stuff. The Wire.
Yeah, they become procedural series, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which I think, although there have been phenomenal examples of that, and particularly The Wire.
Just still haven't got around to watching.
Yeah, you need to watch that.
I know.
You
It's in my Now TV planner, and I will eventually.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of weeks off coming up soon. Maybe I'll delve into it then.
Yeah. We'll talk about The Wire another time.
Okay.
So I'm going to pitch you The French Connection.
Okay.
Because
I've seen The Car Chase.
Okay, right. So it's...
or is that in the second one?
No, there's a car chase in The French Connection.
Yeah.
And there's... Well, actually, which Grand Theft Auto was it? Or was it a Driver? There's a in those sorts of games like GTA or Driver or whatever, there's always a mission where someone runs onto an overland train and you have to chase them in a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the elevated train track, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen that.
Okay, right, cool. Okay. So it's the reason I pitch it is because, like, we don't get movies like this made now. The ones that were made then, you tended to have people like Clint Eastwood, Steve McQueen in the lead roles, and they were these big macho men. This is Gene Hackman and Roy Scheider. Mm-hmm. Again, two of my favourite actors from that era. And it's two New York cops who get embroiled in a case that goes much further than they think it should, or much further than they could ever anticipated, and it's about basically them trying to get the job done and solve the case. I'm not going to go into it too much other than that.
Okay.
Because you're going to watch the movie.
I hope so. Yeah.
But
That's
it's
the plan.
Yeah. But I love this sort of aesthetic.
Is Gene Hackman dead?
No. No.
He just hasn't acted in anything since.
No, he retired.
2004.
Yeah, he retired.
Oh, okay.
Because he just was just like, I don't want to do it. I'm just going to. It was his job, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
And he decided to retire and enjoy the rest of his life. I'm pretty sure he's not there. Yeah, so it would be interesting to watch it now, I think, in the light of everything that's happened recently, and just kind of see the way the world's changed, but also if you enjoy it as a movie, as a thriller, which it is. I think there are two movies that Gene Hackman starred in the 70s, and I was toying which one to pitch you. French Connection was one, which is, I'm not going to say it's an action movie because it's not really, but it has a car chase. It's a bit more of a thriller.
Yeah, it's a thriller.
Yeah, the other one was The Conversation.
Okay.
Which
both of these are filed under things I probably should have seen.
Yeah, The Conversation, I can't decide. It's just in so much because you're either going to find it so boring, or you're really going to get into it. And I thought I'd kind of go somewhere in the middle with French Connection because I think there's more of a chance that you'll get something out of it. The Conversation might be one that we should cover at some point, just because I think it's an interesting movie, and I think there's certain things that you'd relate to with Gene Hackman's character. Being someone who battles with technology sometimes, and audio, but yeah. So that French Connection it's iconic, and it's been the template for things that have come after it. Lots of cop dramas have used elements of it. The French Connection 2, they did an entire episode of Starsky and Hutch, which was just basically a rip off of it.
Right.
Which basically I think aired once on UK TV and then didn't get aired again.
I know elements of the plot of the French Connection too. Yeah. So there was So it's an interesting couple of movies, but we'll just stick with the first one, obviously, and we'll see how we go. See if you like it or not. I like that. I am now quite sad that someone I worked with up until relatively recently, who has departed the company I work for. She used to be an actress, and she had a scene in Behind Enemy Lines with Gene Hackman.
Oh, wow.
And now I can't ask her for any Gene Hackman stories.
I can't decide. I mean, part of me thinks he'd just be amazing, and other parts of me thinks he might be a bit grumpy, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I like to think he's probably quite amazing. He must have some incredible stories. But he's one of those. He's one of those actors that's just like, you don't necessarily remember, aside from maybe Lex Luthor, you don't necessarily remember those iconic roles he's done, but you remember the characters he plays. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like he's one of those actors that I often think that the highest compliment you could probably pay an actor is, I don't remember you in something, but if you remember the character they played, they've done a good job. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like he's one of
it's the difference between being a star and being an actor.
Exactly. Yeah. And Roy Scheider as well.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Alrighty. Well, I'll start looking at Gene Hackman's IMDb page.
Yep.
And we'll talk all about that next week.
Mm-hmm.
Not the IMDb page, the French Connection, obviously.
Yeah.
And Aaron Brockovich.
Yeah.
So
together at last.
I guess it's time for Kieran to remember the plugs, which he has very handily written in Sharpie on a piece of card and stuck on the wall just above the webcam that Tom can see me through. So we are on Twitter /Instagram at HYS Podcast. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/haveyouseenpodcast. The website is haveyouseen.net, and the email is hyspodcast@gmail.com. We would like it very much if you used any of those methods to send us your reviews of The French Connection and the film I'm pitching, Tom, I can't remember, that's called Aaron Brockovich. And in fact, anything we've done this season, I think we can discount movies we've done in season 1.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot. That's over 200 films we did in season 1.
That's crazy.
So if you've seen anything that we've done in season 2, I just totally hit my desk and wobbled my camera then. I'm having a bad night. If you've seen anything we've done in season 2 and would like to get your comments on the show, those are the methods to contact us by. I will additionally plug that I am keeping a video diary vlog series on YouTube about my battles with / recovery from Bell's palsy. It's called Bell's Hell, and you can get to it. You can get to the playlist by going to bit.ly/Kieran Bells. There's 4 up at the moment, and by the time you hear this, and definitely by the time you see it, there will be a 5th. That's to make me finish the 5th one, which has been interrupted 3 times by work and other things. So yeah, that's going up soon. Tom, anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah. I want to plug my feature-length documentary that is on Prime Video called The Easy Bit, which is about what it's like for men to go through fertility treatment. So yeah, you can go there, see it, rent it.
And does that have a vanity URL that we should rename, or just go on Prime and?
Does it have a? You can find it via Prime fairly easily. And the URL I think is.
I'll put him on the spot here.
bit.ly.theeasybit, I think.
Or /theeasybit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, /.
I think we need to work on your internet marketing a little bit.
Yeah. I've been doing loads of the social media stuff on it.
I know you have, and you've been interviewed all over the place.
Yeah.
Like I keep seeing articles popping up that talk to you and podcasts that you've been on and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm doing another one of those in a couple of weeks' time, I think.
Doing the media rounds.
Yeah.
When do we get to set up a junket with you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we can't do junkets at the moment, really, unless you do Zoom junkets.
Zoom junkets. Oh.
And I've done one interview via Zoom, and this podcast that I've got lined up to do in a couple of weeks' time is essentially a Zoom interview, I think, as well. That's going to go on YouTube and embedded in this website that I'm doing it for. So yeah, you've got all of that going on. Trying to keep on top of it all, and. Yeah. So
after a decade of filming those kind of things, you are now the other side of the other side of the room, if you like, in the opposite seat.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And I've done Instagram lives, I've done phone interviews, and so it's kind of a different experience, but it seems to be going all right. Instagram lives are fun. Just chatting like this, really.
Yeah,
it's not
It's all fuel for the autobiography eventually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Alrighty, should we call it a day?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Alrighty, that's a day, and we'll be back on another day. Hopefully next Thursday. Nothing is going to interrupt us from recording the next episode with the French Connection and Erin Brockovich. So we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.